All right, let's talk about a name that pretty much everyone on the planet knows. Disney. I mean, it's this massive empire, right? Built on animation, incredible theme parks, and stories that so many of us grew up with. But the real story of how it went from one little mouse to this global giant, well, it's packed with some really surprising stuff you probably haven't heard. So let's dive in.
So you think you know Disney, huh? You've seen the movies, maybe you've even sung along at the parks. You definitely know the mouse, the princesses, and probably all the superheroes by now. But I bet there are some secrets and just plain wild facts about this company that are going to surprise you. Let's see if I'm right.
And where else could we start but with the two icons that started it all? You got it. One man, Walt Disney, and one very famous mouse. The entire foundation of this entertainment empire really does rest on Walt's vision and his most beloved creation. This is where the magic truly began.
Okay, to really get a sense of Walt's impact, let's start with a little pop quiz. We all know he was successful, but just how successful? How many of those shiny gold Oscar statues did the man himself actually take home in his career? Go ahead, take a guess.
Yeah, 32. Let that sink in for a second. That is the all-time record for Academy Awards won by any single person, and it still stands today. This just goes to show he wasn't just making popular cartoons. Walt was a true titan of his industry, constantly being recognized for pushing the art of filmmaking forward.
Now, what about his most famous partner in crime? Believe it or not, the mouse that started a global phenomenon wasn't always named Mickey. Nope. When Walt and his lead animator, Ub Iwerks, created him back in 1928, his name was Mortimer Mouse. Just try singing the Mortimer Mouse Club theme song. It doesn't quite work, does it?
Mickey's big debut in Steamboat Willie was way more than just a cute cartoon. It was a technological revolution. It was the very first cartoon to have fully synchronized sound. Before this, animation mostly just had some background music slapped on. But here, every little footstep, every whistle was perfectly timed to the action on screen. It was a total game changer that made cartoons feel alive and basically set the standard for the entire industry.
So, the movies were a massive hit, but Walt's dream was even bigger. He didn't just want people to watch his stories, he wanted them to step inside them. He imagined a real, physical place where families could walk right into the magic, a true magic kingdom.
And in 1955, that dream became Disneyland. And let me tell you, this was not a project Walt just delegated from some fancy office. He was there, on the ground in Anaheim, California, personally supervising the whole thing. He was obsessed with every single detail, making sure the park was the perfect real-life version of the world in his head.
That first park in California? Well, that was just the spark. The idea was so powerful that it just had to go global. Now you can find Disney's Magic Kingdoms all over the world, from Paris to Tokyo, Shanghai to Hong Kong. It's just incredible proof of how universal the appeal of these fantasy worlds really is.
You know, to really understand how personal Disneyland was to Walt, you just have to look up when you're on Main Street. Right there, hidden in plain sight above the fire station, Walt had a small private apartment. It was his own little spot inside the kingdom he built, and even today they keep a lamp lit in the window as a beautiful tribute to him.
Okay, let's step away from the parks for a minute and head back to the movies, because the classic animated films are really the heart and soul of Disney's legacy, and oh boy, do they have some fascinating behind-the-scenes stories of their own.
Let's take an absolute classic, The Lion King. Its original working title was actually King of the Jungle. Now, I'm sure some of you are already smiling because you see the tiny little problem with that. Lions don't live in the jungle. They're on the savannah. Thankfully, someone caught that little biological oops before the movie came out.
And what about those iconic characters? Was the mischievous little pixie Tinkerbell just drawn from pure imagination? Nope. Her sassy movements, her expressions, her whole personality, they were all based on a real person. An actress named Margaret Carey actually performed all the scenes on a soundstage, so the animators had a live-action reference to work from. How cool is that?
That incredible attention to detail has paid off big time over the decades. Let's fast forward to 2013. That same magic touch turned Frozen into an absolute global phenomenon. It didn't just break records, it shattered them, pulling in over $1.2 billion worldwide. For a while there, it was the highest-grossing animated film of all time.
Which brings us to today. The Disney company of the 21st century is, well, it's something that even Walt himself probably couldn't have imagined. It's expanded its universe by bringing some of the biggest names in storytelling under its roof. See, in the modern era, Disney's whole strategy shifted. It wasn't just about creating their own stories anymore. It was about acquiring entire universes of them. Pixar's incredible animation, the whole Marvel superhero saga, the epic galaxy of Star Wars, they're all part of the Disney family now. It has turned the company into this unbelievable storytelling empire that basically dominates our culture today.
And that leaves us with one last big question. After a century of magic, from a simple drawing of a mouse to a media empire that spans galaxies, what's next? With all of these characters and worlds at their fingertips, the possibilities are, well, they're endless. What story do you think they should tell?